My kid, I want you to understand right now that their treatment of you has never altered. My opinion of you, I witnessed you through every phase of your life, when your heart stayed true, even when others didn't see your value. You had good intentions, you had an open attitude. There was stillness when you brought serenity. You did your best, but it was not taken into consideration. The truth you spoke was disregarded. Loyalty which you provided was taken for granted. Nevertheless, I never once looked away. Throughout all of this, didn't you start to question if you were as important as you believed? You were never invisible to me, however, and I want you to know that now and always, heaven never turned you away intentionally. Irreversibly and forever you were chosen. I've seen you endure a lot of adversity without losing your admiration. I have seen you continue to walk with elegance while bearing difficulties that no one recognized. I fully documented what others were unable to observe. Type 111 if you trust in God's timing and plan for you. They had glimpses of your outside world, but they never witnessed the price you paid to continue. Even when you were tired, you served, while you quietly hoped someone would speak life into you. You supported others. Even if your voice was muffled, you still showed up. I saw that your name was missing from the list. I stood next to you while you stood in the back, without anybody noticing. I never forgot a second of it. Not to an exact retribution, not to reveal, however. I value what others overlook. I appreciate what they overlook. I treasure what others throw away. I kept what the world had forgotten, and I rescued what they didn't. Being invisible for a season wasn't a punishment. It was getting ready. It served as defense in order to cure your spirit and provide a solid foundation. I protected you from premature platforms. Allow me to return you for clarity, not suffering, not because you want fame, but rather because you craved recognition. The stillness was very painful. You had no intention of becoming worshipped. All you wanted was to be noticed, and that wish, it's not pride. It's not a sign of weakness. I created that desire in you, so it would bring you back to me, not so that someone else could satisfy it. To the one who sees everything, I never meant for your identity to be based on approval from others. I kept the door locked for that reason. The invitation never arrived. As a result, I responded, not yet, when you were ready to run because of this. To men, what would have crumbled under the pressure of performance. Not to offend you, I wanted your identity to be based on my approval rather than praise. If you believe in the power of faith, type to 122 and like this video. We don't forget you. This is a truth that has been sealed in heaven, not simply a word. In the shadows, I have seen your love keep quiet when serving. When no one expressed gratitude give, I have seen your silent affirmation, your covert compliance, and your invisible submission. And that type of life is never wasted. I want you to know that I made myself known to you. In the same locations where you were disregarded, I can now trust you with influence. That won't break your spirit, since you've learned how to serve without the limelight. I can put you in a position where people will listen to you, and you won't make concessions to maintain the focus of the room. You have already endured a life devoid of praise. You won't be tempted by it because of this. They didn't choose you, therefore. You're not broken. Their lack of faith in you does not disqualify you. I kept what men left behind. I kept you concealed because I was establishing your roots, not because you weren't deserving. In order to strengthen you, I postponed the platform to save your soul. I slowed down the trip. I'm calling you out now, because you've been prepared in my eyes, not because you've arrived in theirs. Few people comprehend the weight you've borne. You've asked if your constancy made a difference. You've questioned whether or not your obedience resulted in anything. Heaven counts differently, however. And I want you to know that I don't gauge success or value by popularity or visibility. My yardstick is fidelity. I gauge you by the state of your heart, the sincerity of your intentions, and the force of your affirmation type common. If you are ready to receive God's blessings today, this is a summons, not only a word of consolation. I'm not only validating your history, I'm turning on your next. What I've already determined in heaven is being announced in the Spirit. The moment has come to walk not in apologies, but in power. The invisibility season is coming to a close. The time for disclosure has arrived. To those who disregarded you, you are not being lifted to prove anything. You're not in a position to exact revenge on those who ignored you. No, you're ascending, because I made the proper decision in picking you, and that's sufficient. Your basis is heaven's favor, and only that will help you bear the burden of the doors I'm about to open. I want you to fully comprehend things I have seen. Every instance in which your voice was muffled, your presence disregarded, and your contribution undervalued. I saw both the times you remained silent out of wisdom, and times when you were just exhausted. I never mistook the two. I saw your struggles inside, the battle to maintain the tenderness of your heart, the pain of being invisible, the times when you prayed for others, not for yourself. You intervened even though you were in pain. I also didn't take any of it for granted. I have never used applause to gauge your worth. I take internal measurements. I can see the weight of your yes and the depth of your compassion. If you love Jesus, type 333 and share this video with 7 others who believe. It was never necessary for you to entertain me. Being loud was never a prerequisite for love. You were sent without ever having to be seen. I've been in every quiet room with you, every chilly area, every instance in which your generosity was assumed. Never once have I turned away, and the hidden tears you shed, I gathered them all, each tear held a fragment of a heart that refused to harden, not because I take pleasure in your pain. To me you are that person, the one who is kind even when misinterpreted, the one who consistently chooses me, even when you don't feel me. It's not a sign of weakness. Maturity is that power, is that allow me to share what I see. You never waver even when no one cheers. Even if it costs you, you are an honest person. Despite the weariness of your heart, you have compassion even when everything changes. You remain stable even when you are misinterpreted. You remain pure when no one is looking. You are attractive because of who you are, not because of what you do. This isn't a compliment. I'm here to remind you of something you've almost forgotten. You were invisible because I was strengthening you, without your need for praise, not because you were undeserving and private. You were getting ready for your public stewardship. If you feel blessed, type 440 and share this video to spread God's love. You have been becoming rather than falling behind. This is the cause of the stress. Your soul still remembers what it was like to be neglected, but your spirit is aware that something is changing. God, when will it be? My time is what you've been quietly asking. For satisfaction, not for glory. To fulfill my pledge, not to attract attention. And I say yes, yes. Everything I stated still holds true. Yes, it's almost time. However, I must ground you in something more profound than calling before I can move you ahead. You must stand in identification. For me, it's the praying version of you, not the performing one, the forgiving one. When you want to stop walking, they continue. That's the person I'm raising. So get closer. A to-do list is not necessary. Simply with an open heart, allow me to restore your clarity via love. Allow me to get your rhythm back. Allow me to remove the remnant of rejection. Don't wait to be rejected. Stop overanalyzing your value. Stop reducing your size to make yourself less conspicuous. I purposely created you. I purposely created you. And I consider the very things that others were unable to manage to be sacred. To get selected, you don't have to change. You are already. I only hope you don't forget it. Let me explain how you move. Before you talk, let me speak before you move. Let me take the lead. Let me often remind you that heaven recorded what the world neglected. I salvaged what others did not. I called just perfect what others call too different. I don't have any plans for you. You're not running late, you don't lack anything. You're in position. You were ascending because you gave into the process, not because you pushed your way in. Nothing can unsettle you because you are grounded. I sent you not because they noticed you. Type 555 if you feel God's presence in your life. Your heart has come back to life. I want to return. Now that your identification is being confirmed, not to revisit past hurts, but to provide clarification because you have a skewed perspective on some of the events. The denial, the quiet, the unfairness, all genuine, all agonizing but with a purpose. I didn't leave you because of your suffering. It wasn't a penalty. I accepted that as part of the process, not to harm you but to mold you. Even with the stillness, I was working despite the absence. I was there, I was creating a weight of splendor in you. Anguish by itself is not sacred. However, when suffering is given to me, it becomes hallowed ground. And I got it from you even if you didn't comprehend. Despite your want to retreat, you presented it to me, even if the questions were tearful. And I respected that you gave me something to work with. Each time you choose not to harden, I anointed your heart each time you showed forgiveness. I kept it as seed each time you served without showing. I marked you authoritatively each time you stood in the tension. Your suffering wasn't in vain. It was planted, and now it's almost harvest time. If you believe in God's promises, type 666 and share this video to inspire others. What I do next will feel like justice, and it will also seem to be progress. The sort of justice that restores, not the kind that smashes, that respects what was sowed behind closed doors, from areas of surrender that yields fruit, that aspires to satisfy rather than to prove. As it happens, keep in mind that your performance isn't the reason for this. You believed me when it didn't make sense, which is why it's happening. It's not a prize for being flawless. It is the outcome of faithfulness. I now want you to stand up without regret. Take a step without fear. Don't shrink when you speak. Love without reservation. It is refining, not recognition. That has prepared you. We never forgot you. They were making you. Type 777 if you are ready to receive God's peace today. The timing is right now, and what earth attempted to ignore is being announced by heaven. You were never forgotten. You were picked every time. And now they're revealing you. Come on, kid, I go ahead of you.